Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Charter Commission meeting. It's December 9th at 6 p.m. and I am Deb Nichols. I'm the town clerk, and I'll be calling the meeting to order tonight due to the recent resignation of our chair, Jim Laflamme. Our first order of business tonight is to swear in our new commission member, Shanna Dulac, who was recently appointed to the commission by the council at their recent meeting last weekend. So I'm going to ask Shanna to stand and raise your right hand, please. Shanna Dulac, do you swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state so long as you shall continue a citizen thereof, so help you God? Do you swear that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Charter Commission for the municipality of Winthrop according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help you God? Thank you. We'll have you sign.
Mazel tov.
So we're going to do a roll call, and we had a request that our commission members introduce themselves. So I'll go ahead and note that Vice Chair Michael Zato is absent from the meeting tonight. But I'm going to ask Secretary Colpitts to step up and give a little introduction of himself, please.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, Matt Colpitts. Right here in Winthrop for the last 8 years or so, and I live up on Memorial Drive.
Thank you, Matt. And Bruce Burns?
Bruce Burns, town resident for 25 years.
Thank you, Bruce. Shayna?
Hi, Shayna Dulac. I also go by Shay. Born and raised here, graduated in 04, and I live here.
Thank you. Dick Garrett?
Dick Garrett, lived here 150 years and served on the fire department for 21 years and raised my family and grandkids here.
Thank you, Dickie. And Gil Susi?
Gil Susi, resident for 39 years. Thank you.
Andy West?
Resident of Winthrop since 1982, involved in civics and the government of the town, one way or another for just about all that time.
Thank you, Andy. And Carrie Ann Wilkins, please.
I've been a resident in Winthrop for about 30 years, raised both my kids here, former Winthrop ambulance member. Be here today.
Thank you, Aaron White.
My name is Aaron White. I'm the appointed individual from the council. I've been a resident here my whole life, which is 40 years. Served on the Winthrop Ambulance Service as well for about 15 years. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Aaron. Our first order of business here, we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance if you join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's move on to item 220 that we're going to consider nominations for the Charter Commission chair. I want to be clear that we'll be having these nominations with seconds, and when we're done having nominations from the floor, we will go ahead and vote at that point. Once a chair is elected, I will turn that meeting over to the chair for the rest of the meeting.
And then we'll go back to public comment.
Correct. Unless there's any public comment in the meantime, would anybody care to make an initial public comment? All good? All right, item 20. Is there a nomination for chair? Aaron?
I nominate Gil Susi.
I'll second.
Any nominations? Any additional nominations? Yes, Mr. Gret?
Bruce Burns.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do I hear any more nominations? Going once? Twice? All right, let's close the nominations and I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Gil Susi as the chair, please raise your hand. 4. Opposed? Anybody opposed to that vote? Abstain? Recuse? We need some votes here, people.
Take a recuse. Take it.
I'll call for a vote for Bruce Burns. All those in favor of Bruce as chair? Opposed? Recusing? Abstaining? That's the remainder of you?
Bill, if you want. Oh,
He's got it.
Can't even get people to vote.
I'm going to ask for a little more clarification on Gil's nomination and his vote. I had 4 vote and I had no one else vote in his support. So
Can I change? Can I vote for myself?
you may vote for yourself.
Make it
So we've
5.
got 5 and 3,
Does that assume Bruce himself? Yeah.
and you're voting for yourself. So we have 3 and
Is that Mr. Zato on the Zoom? I don't know if that's.
3 and 5 who did not vote for Bruce. 3 that did, and 5 for Mr. Susi, and 3 that did not. So my math indicates that Mr. Susi is the winner of the chair position, and we'll turn the meeting over to Gil Susi at this time. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I guess that's a backdoor approach of getting in. I would be remiss if I did not thank our former chairman, Jim Laflamme, for getting us this far. He was very fair, very even-handed, and I hope I can follow in his footsteps. So I guess with that being said, is it possible to change the order of the agenda? And the reason I'm saying that is we have the folks from the school and school committee here, and I'd like to basically take their issue first. Mr. Dick?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a personnel issue and I would like to request a executive session.
Do that short.
You cannot, an executive session has to be posted in advance as part of the agenda.
So, next meeting?
It's a motion to host an executive session next meeting. I second.
Dick, did you want to make a motion to schedule an executive session? Okay. Is there a second on that?
Andy?
Can I call for a vote for that, please?
Discussion?
Yeah.
Discussion first.
Okay. Our next meeting is going to be in January, I take it. Is this something that needs to be done now or something that can wait? Okay? It can wait. All right. Beginning or end of meeting? Would you like the executive session at the beginning of the meeting or at the end of the meeting in January?
Kidding.
Okay?
Did
And
you
in
say
a
the
case like
beginning?
this, in a case like this, 6 o'clock? All right, 5:30, executive session? Does that work for everybody?
You want to call for a vote, Gil?
Yep, and let's see who's in favor of that. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you.
I might as well step into the, boy, how deep I can go here. I'd like to put a motion on the floor.
Please, Andy, please talk into your mic.
I'm surprised that many people want to hear me talk. I'd like to put a motion on the floor that we address the misnomer of calling this a joint session of the town council. I understand that if at least 3 councilors are present in this room, the public has to be notified, but this is not a joint meeting of the town council. We need to find some other verbiage that indicates that there may be councilors here, but not indicate that the town council is joint with us and part of our process.
Is there any verbiage you would want to suggest for that?
I'm hoping smarter people than me come up with something. What do you
How
think?
about just the Winthrop Charter Commission? Boom. And not the joint town council.
I think we have to tell everybody that there'll be 3 councilors here. I think we need to be safe with that.
Needs to be specific.
Well, you know, if we said, you know, at any charter commission, it's likely, there you go, Aaron, what do you got?
I was gonna wait. Well, I'll wait.
Okay, well, let Gil go.
Oh, you're.
Aaron.
I was just going to say, I mean, I think, you know, we have the ability to pose questions, clarification to the town legal counsel, which is, I think, where you'd have to go with this. I think you'd have to get clarification from the town's attorney to say if we do or do not need notice, given,
I think we do, okay? I think the public needs to know.
right, but they'll give you wording is what I'm saying. If there's a different way of wording it, we should allow the town attorney to make that.
Okay, so then should we ask our clerk to talk to the town attorney?
Yeah.
Get a written response from him?
I suggest.
That would be Debbie.
Dick?
I agree with Bruce. You guys want to keep running that town attorney, running that town. Look, we're going to have a meeting, like Bruce says, and I agree with him. It's Charter Commission. It, all taxpayers, doesn't matter who's here or who's not here. Unless it's a special meeting
Legally it
with
does.
the town council, then we'll say that. Otherwise, forget it. The Charter Commission's having a meeting. That's it. I don't think we need to notify the town of Winthrop that the council guys are going to be here. What's it matter? They want to come, they come.
All right.
Taxpayers.
Everyone's always invited.
What's that?
Everyone's always invited.
That's right. Love to have them here.
Anthony? Dick?
2 things. This isn't on the agenda. We should be following the agenda as far as the order of business today. Secondly, you've all been provided information from the Maine Municipal Association's Legal Services Department that explains why this meeting is posted as it is. It is required under the law to post notice anytime there's a quorum of council members. And at this moment, we do have a quorum of council members. So it's just out of an abundance of caution. Everyone here understands what their role is.
It's not a matter, Anthony, of not announcing the council members are here. It's just a matter of not announcing that this is a joint meeting, which it most certainly is not. Okay, you could put on this thing at any time that you may expect at least 3 members of the town council to be at these meetings for a little bit of verbiage. And then the public knows that the town council will be here, but it is not a joint meeting.
Point of order. We want to make sure that we go through our chair, because otherwise, if
You're correct. I apologize.
Continue, please. Andy?
Okay,
that was it?
that's pretty much it. I don't have a problem with removing joint meeting because it's not, and saying, please remember whatever, at any given time at a meeting, at least 3 town councilors may appear. Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until the next meeting and stick to our agenda.
I'm fine with tabling as long as it doesn't come out and say joint meeting again.
And well, I think the motion should stand to table this to the next meeting where we can get a little bit more advisement, from our attorney. Is there a second to Kerry's motion to table this to the next meeting? Second by Shay. All those in favor?
Discussion?
Discussion.
Okay,
Sorry.
I really think that
Continue with
since our very first meeting, several of us have been requesting that the town attorney rather be here rather than we get the third-hand information. A situation when we ask a person the question, the person asks the attorney tells the person, gets it back to us. I cannot for the life of me understand why we've had this many meetings and have had the request for the town attorney to be here and haven't seen him. So I think he should be expected to be at the next meeting.
Different issue than what we're considering right now, I think.
Well, we're going to ask the opinion of a town attorney to be here and tell us. Decide to give what credence if we may.
Point of order. I
Bruce?
think that in review of our main municipal courses, anytime there's more than 2 council members, whether it's a restaurant
3,
or,
but doesn't matter.
more than 2,
Yeah.
it has to be advertised as a meeting. I think the preamble to this, I don't know about the language in it, but, hey, there might be council members, they're representatives as citizens. It pretty clearly points that out. And I mean, as far as tabling this to another matter, I think it's pretty conclusive that that will be the answer of the attorney, that, anytime you have more than 3 of them in a room, it's a public meeting.
Well,
I know that as well as I do. You were the chair.
Right, I don't have a problem with stating that there will or may be 3 counselors here, okay, which may create a legal public meeting. I have a problem with the verbiage. It says it will be a joint meeting. It most certainly not.
That's-
I'm going to make a motion that we research this more. We have a really long agenda.
Yes.
I think we should continue this discussion at the next meeting.
Motion on the table from Kerry is to.
Second.
we already have a motion on the floor that's already been seconded.
The motion is to table this until we get another reading on this. I don't want to break the law. I don't want to go against the law.
It's a very good point.
If the law states that we need to do this, we need to do this, verbiage, be verbiage, right? So,
I have a standing motion from Carrie to table the meeting to the next meeting with clarification to ask for the town clerk to ask the town attorney for clarification, and it was seconded by Aaron. Is that correct?
by Shay,
Shay? All right, I'm sorry.
all those in favor?
So what do we have here? I'm sorry. And no? 6-2, motion passes. Thank you, Gil.
All right, thank you. Off to a rough start, you guys.
Tiger by the tail.
I'm going to dismiss you, Andy. I would like to move the agenda around so that these folks don't end up waiting another hour and a half before we address that, if that's okay.
Makes sense.
I'd like to move item number 21, and then after this, we'll do number 20, if that's okay.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got an older agenda. Sorry. I want to do 22 and then we'll do 21 after. We'll just switch them around. That's okay with the commission?
Got an old agenda too. What the hell?
Second.
Must have an old agenda.
Oh, let me get you some.
So I picked. This-
So item 22 would be discussion of school budget and spending matters.
21, isn't it? I mean, I might have the wrong one as well. Mine says 21. School
says-
budget.
21 says issues referred to town attorney on mine.
And that's
22 is school budget.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes, let's move on. Was that me for me? Oh, it's the same thing, town attorney. It's 22, the school budget.
No, not mine.
Okay, we all on the same page? Oh, we have many pages.
All right.
All right. So with us tonight are Dr. Foley and the chairperson of the school board, Alicia Lawson. And we would like to take up Article 5, I believe, or 4, sorry. That's what happens when we switch things around. And first, I'd like to recognize Aaron. Aaron had some ideas on a couple things that he would like to see possibly implemented. It's probably new to all of us because I was just made aware of this tonight. So we, again, I don't think we'll vote on this tonight, but if you could set the stage, Aaron, for what you're thinking.
So initially, a couple of years ago, I'd researched the potential of forming a joint council and school board committee. And so I've provided that document to you guys here, which is just some language on how it could be adopted into a charter, the development of a joint council school board committee. And with the idea being in the purpose is, would serve as an advisory coordinating body only, reviewing and discussing issues between the municipal and school, including budget coordinating, capital planning, facilities, long-term financial forecasting, and policy matters with cross-jurisdictional impact, which is all written in here. The reason why I would like to do this is because in the past, looking historically, when we've run into issues with budgeting and oversight between the two bodies, there's been areas that have either been missed or miscommunicated, and we've always waited until the very last moment between the two departments or sides of the school or town government rather. And so it's been a last minute try to change things. Right. So then the school board passes their budget and presents it to the council towards the end of the budget year, and there's a conflict, then it has to go back. And then it's last minute trying to, maybe cut this, cut that. And in my opinion, it has not served the town's interests very well. And also now that we've kind of adopted the use of a single financial manager between the two bodies, I think it would be helpful to have that communication set in stone, that it's something that's going to only help provide more information to the citizens and also help us on the council prepare our side of the budget in mind of what the school needs are, instead of just doing it completely independently and then hoping everything comes together at the end. And I think we've seen in the past that this has been an issue.
So let me see if I understand this correctly. The gist of your document here to us tonight is to create a liaison between the schools and the town council so that there are no surprises come the 90 days prior to the fiscal year end.
That is correct. And this would codify it in the town charter, which removes any basically, going year to year or council from council, school board to school board, superintendent, or town manager's preferences. I'm not, we're fortunate right now to have Dr. Foley, who has completely adopted a open policy and becoming very transparent, which has been crucial. Otherwise, we would have been in a very difficult situation over the last year and a half. But I'm not going to, hope that we keep getting Dr. Foley's. This is something I think that the town needs to have codified in the charter.
Great, thank you, Aaron. And I know I was just able to glance over this document, so I didn't really study it. And I got it as I came in tonight, and I don't expect any of the commission members to weigh in on it unless you've got something pressing that you want to discuss now on the, pertinent to this document. Richard?
To hear from superintendent and the lady with it, what their opinions are on this.
Have they had a chance to review it, Aaron? Okay, all
Anthony
right.
provided the
Dr. Foley?
superintendent with a copy.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Harry?
The school budget is online at all times. Is that correct? Okay. I don't know if everyone knows that. So I don't disagree that we need to have this discussion, but it's provided to the public throughout the process is my understanding. And it's talked about publicly to the town council, but also to, everyone's invited to school board meetings. Is that accurate?
That's all correct.
Okay.
Dr. Foley, thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Oh, anytime.
And if, I don't know if you had a chance to review Aaron's document on this joint committee liaison between the school and the town council. And if you have a few comments, we'd appreciate it.
So I've received this, I think, about 15 minutes ago. But I'm always happy to give my opinion on almost anything. So I'll take a couple of initial reactions. My initial reaction is it makes me nervous. Now, I understand what Aaron's trying to get at with more transparency, but I think Carrie makes some very valid points. Of course, all of our meetings at the school board are open to the public, and we start in January. And for anyone interested, they're open. My door is always open. The budget is posted. I don't think that was always the case, but that is our current practice to make sure that that's up there. And as soon as we're presenting something to the board, it's also on the website.
Is that under the school board, the budget that's posted
Yeah.
online? Okay.
Yeah, right, on the school website. I think there's a link under budget and everything. Budget is there. What makes me nervous about just a couple of initial reactions is just when I look at composition, that when it says 3 members of the school board, well, then I think would be in the same situation that you were debating earlier. When we have 3 school board members at any committee, we now have a quorum, and that's now a school board meeting. So I think that would have to be reduced to at least 2. I would want to be really clear about the purpose of this. I understand what it's saying about, let's talk about some shared interest, but I just can't quite envision like who's setting that agenda, who's running it, what are we talking about? Because I think that we can do a lot of those things behind the scenes, just with, Anthony and I at times about, is there something we can, is there something that we can share, like around capital planning, and we do that. We struggle currently. I think I had talked previously at a town council meeting about our board members are required to already serve on 2 committees in addition to attending their 2 board meetings monthly. So I worry about that, putting another 4 times a year, another committee on them. So that's some of my initial just thoughts, but I really have not had time. This is very surprising to me. So I really have not had time to absorb it fully. And I understand that you're just seeking more transparency. And this is one way that is a possibility. And I think transparency is always good. I just want to make sure that it's doable. So those are just my initial thoughts. And I don't know, Alicia, whether you have, as a board member, any further thoughts or not.
And again, we recognize that everybody's just been given this document, so it's not, it's a surprise that.
So maybe with more thought, I can think of a way that I think that could be workable.
Alicia, thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Thank you, Gil, and thank you for pushing us up to the front of the meeting. I appreciate that. The main thought that I had was initially that there are 3 members, and Dr. Foley did allude to this. 3 members for us is a quorum, and so technically we wouldn't be able to have the 3 on the committee if we were to serve. So maybe reducing that. Obviously, I'm echoing her thoughts again. Here is having only just a few minutes to read this. We need a little bit more time. I don't know if you guys are planning on voting on any of this tonight, if it's just presenting. Okay, perfect. And Aaron, I agree with you that the district is very fortunate to have Dr. Foley as Winthrop's educational leader. I just want to say we do plan to hire someone exactly like her. So I think that is possible.
All right.
Okay, that's it.
So any questions for Alicia?
No questions. I'll just
All right,
kind
Aaron.
of do clarification. This was just a broad, I do agree that we would not want a quorum present, so we would drop probably those down to 2 members. I do think this is, unfortunately, I do think it's needed. We've historically seen the issues that have come with not having some type of formal requirement to have communication between the 2 bodies. And in here, I was very cognizant of the statutory requirements for authority for the educational board, and this says, the limitations and authorities, that advisory only shall not exercise any legislative appropriation or executive authority. But I do think it's important that both bodies are at least quarterly meeting or have some dedicated members to do that. If it's just 2 and 2, that's fine. Also in this, it talks about how it's developed and whether it's the town manager or the superintendent or they alternate helping to facilitate these meetings. I do think it's critically important, especially whereas, right now in the council, when I look at things, we have to consider a huge amount of information when we're looking at budgets. And the town manager does his best, but he really stays in his lane. Now, it has improved dramatically with Dr. Foley and the town manager, Anthony, as far as information and us getting it. But that has not always been the case. And I think we need to document something that puts it in stone, that it's not something that, at the whim of change of an administration or at the behest of a council or a school board that says, no, we really just want to stick with this. That cord just fell right there on the front of Dick. But so I do think it's an important need. We have really come close and have, frankly, in the past, it has negatively impacted the school district when we've had accounting errors or when the 2 sides were not aligned on budgetary or appropriations. So, looking at when we look at things in the school that are going to need, future spending thoughts and planning, I don't think you can do that in an isolated situation. I don't think the school board should be doing it on their own completely and then coming to the town after the fact. I think that we need to have an ongoing discussion throughout the year. So that's what this is attempting to do. And I wouldn't expect, any motions or anything. I just want this to be a consideration.
I have a question for Dr. Foley.
Aaron. Richard, please.
Deathly against this. I'd kill this thing in a heartbeat. The school board run your schools. Taxpayers vote on the school budget. Sorry, it's all right. I said I would kill this bill or this idea. Nothing against you, Aaron, and I understand what you're trying to do. To let your school run their school. Let the town council run the town. Don't put the 2 together. You guys, the town council members can meet with the school district at any time to go over their budget or any questions. And I think the town council's got enough on their hands without meddling in the school board's decisions. And again, the town people are going to vote on it, no matter what. Let your town people decide on it. You run your town, let them run their school.
Carrie?
Dr. Foley, is the budget discussed at every school board meeting, at every public school board meeting? Like a review, is there a general review?
I would say not every school board meeting, but so when I do my superintendent update, frequently, I will do an update in there, like we've already started our budget discussions, and I've already met with, the middle school principal, and we've reviewed that budget. I'll give something general like that to let everybody know we have started the FY27 budget. But then we will, as a board, I will do my first, what I call overview of the proposed budget at the end of January or the beginning of February. And I think last year I came to the town council 3 times. I didn't mind presenting to them. We do have also a finance committee that meets monthly, and then there's a report out on that, which covers the budget.
And that's online as well?
And the finance agendas and minutes are online.
How often do you meet? Twice a month? Once a month?
The board usually meets twice a month, not always in the summer. I think we skip July, but pretty much we meet twice a month.
I'm hearing a lot of concern here, and I think it's a good discussion. I'm just wondering, what if you incorporated once a month a review of the budget? Just a brief synopsis, just on a regular basis.
Yes, I think
In lieu
that's
of
what
this.
we do with pretty much the finance, when Tim is the chair of the finance committee, and he will do a brief synopsis. So yes.
And the
And
result is
I do once a month so you're talking about the current budget that we're living under.
Correct.
So I do try to, every month I meet with Nick, and then we review where we are in the district. I thought you were talking about when I start talking about next year's budget, the FY27. But no, we do a monthly update about where we are financially. But I think Aaron's more concerned about the development of the budget, right?
Yeah,
And making sure that we get it right so that we don't find out in September, whoops, we're under budgeted by X amount of dollars.
So is there a way to review that at every meeting, maybe once a month, looking at the next budget? Just to make it a little more.
Well, we start that like usually in October or November. So if we're not working on the development, which we're not, in July, August, September, October. So starting in November, I will, in my superintendent's report, kind of give a synopsis of where we are in the budget development. And I think, Anthony, you included the development calendar, I think, for all of you. And I think that gives you a really good, easily understandable overview without going into too much detail about, in December, all the budgets are due. Then right now, we're in the midst of meeting with each administrator to review their budgets. And then Nick will put it together and he hands that to me in January. And you can see that in January is when we really start talking about this is what the upcoming budget looks like. But before that, I don't really know, because right now I'm just reviewing individual budgets.
You had,
Yes,
you, Carrie.
Aaron, this is a great effort, but I think it's micromanaging, and the school budget should be the school budget. I think, if I'm not mistaken, before I left council, were you not appointed as the liaison to the school board? Or wasn't there a council member that was appointed as a liaison?
No, I just had, at the time, took it upon myself to make sure that I attended and was made aware of everything. So that way, when items came up to us, we could not always have to request Dr. Foley to be present and give a presentation. But no, we don't have a dedicated liaison.
I think there should be a liaison to this town, from the town council to the school board that sits sits in on the meetings, and can provide town council with an overview. The 6 years that I served on council and the 6 school budgets that were passed during my tenures were like, let's make a deal. The budget came up. Oh, we go line item by line item some years and say, oh, we got to get $50 off of this. We got to cut 500 here. I don't like that. You've got a good financial officer now that accommodates both the school and the town. He does a competent job. I don't know how long his tenure would be. We're looking at a provision in here that it might come up in another 10 years for a review. So to put these restrictions, I think would really create a lot of problems for the school board whose members are elected. Okay. And Dr. Foley might not be here forever. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, I can, I guess, speak to some of that.
I mean, does that
Feels
make
okay that-
sense? I mean,
Yeah, so this is
I think
not, this
this is
has
too-
no authority whatsoever. It is advisory only and not even that as much as an open line of communication. So this isn't going to be something that supersedes the school board. It allows an opportunity for the two to get together. In a business, would you ever budget 2 separate entities of that business and then come together at the very last minute before you
yes,
solidified it? It's
I
not
have.
effective. It's
we have.
okay, but what I'm saying is we've
Business. I don't know
seen
about municipalities and school
Yeah.
boards, but that's not unfounded.
no, but I don't
We
think
have
it's as
operations that we blend in.
effective in this situation. And I think we've seen the negative impact on the taxpayers and the school when things don't line up appropriately. And a lot of that can be contributed to miscommunication or the lack of transparency in communication. This aims at fixing that regardless of who is in place. Yes, we can say we have a great finance director, and right now we have a council that does that. But in my mind, if we solidify this in the charter, I don't have to worry about it 10 years from now. But this also does have a sunset clause that it gets reviewed with a certain time. But this isn't like set in stone. Things can be changed. This was just an example that I was giving so I could get your thoughts.
I was just giving my thoughts on that
Yes,
as a
thank you.
member of this commission to a town councilor who is the liaison. Okay, I think it stinks. I think it's micromanaging. I think you should leave them alone
Management about it in there, really.
with 8 different committees.
Can we move on? Just a quick, Andy, you had your hand up?
4 or less. Agree with Bruce? God, I'm scared to death. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. Somebody's gonna hear me. I more or less agree with Bruce. I probably wouldn't have been any more careful about the adjectives than Bruce, to tell you the truth. Counselor has at least 2 duties. A liaison, okay, and then a direct council assignment. Okay, I think Aaron and I are appointments committee. Okay, so what I am concerned about, and I know every school board member has at least 2 duties. So what I'm really concerned about is adding yet another charge and trying to find the people that have the time that are willing to do it. I think that's the big issue here.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you,
that's
Andy.
the
Good point.
elephant in the
We have a
room.
gentleman that was at the podium. Mr. Steele?
Hi, Jim Steele. Just listening to you guys talk, and my question is kind of for Dr. Foley, then it'll come back to the Charter Commission. But when you're saying all this information is publicly posted, is that a state requirement? Okay, so listening to that, and I think it's great that you do that, and that it's posted, and the kind of listening, and I haven't read Aaron's proposal other than just tonight, but I'm thinking he might be going this route, and correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe to put something in the charter so that whether you have a meeting or not, but that it is publicly posted. So it is required to have this so it can be reviewed by anybody, because right now, unless we go up and ask for it, I know you're offering it, but as to his point, maybe you won't be here in 5 years, right? You're going to sunset and retire and be happy somewhere warm. But I think maybe what he's looking for is maybe that we have something that's in the charter requiring that something that can be viewed, because it's not a state requirement, right? But it's in the charter for future people down the line. So we know that it's required by the next superintendent, by the next school administration, that it is in there so it can be looked at, whether it's by the council, by a John Q. Public, or whoever would like to look at it without having to go up and actually request it. So that's just my quick thoughts of listening to you folks talk. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Richard?
I don't see what the beef is. You people can go to the school board meetings anytime you want. And you can't dictate to them legally that you're going to cut this school bus and you're going to cut that teacher. You can't tell them that.
And that says that in
Okay?
here.
And I don't know why we need somebody on this. And I want you to think about this too. Once we if this does get accepted and goes on this, and this charter is going to be voted on. And I can tell you right now, the school polls a lot of votes. So if you're thinking that you want this charter, all our hard work to pass, you want to think about that. But I just don't understand, Aaron, why any of these guys any council members can go to their school board meetings. They're open.
Right.
You got a
Problem, Dick, in the past is it hasn't happened. Sorry. It hasn't happened, and we have developed issues in between when communication broke down. This would set in stone and require communication between the school board and the council.
It hasn't happened because you haven't gone to the meetings.
Well, this changes that, right?
Not really. I think it really weights it down. Excuse me.
So can I make a suggestion? I see both sides of the issue. There's no sense in micromanaging the people who are micromanaging. However, there's also, this town has gotten burned twice in the past by lack of something, and it's cost us millions of dollars. So residents of this town are probably a little on edge when it comes to school budgets, and please don't take any offense to that. This increases communications, but at the same time, it adds another layer of complexity to the issue. So I guess what I would recommend right now is that we read what's in the document. I know some of you are pretty dead set against it. You might not read it, but please take a look at some of the suggestions in there, as will I. And, if there's anything worth salvaging and inserting into the charter, then we can do that. But right now, I just assume, I don't want to vote on it, obviously. And I sure, again, I don't want to throw it out in case there is something of value in there. All of us got hit with this 15 minutes before the meeting. So no offense if we table this.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the way it has to be, because we're not supposed to communicate.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Absolutely. That would be my intent, would be, take a look at it, tweak it, come up with something, or.
And if we
do
need
as
to
David
insert-
said, and just put in the fact, requirement of the budget being accessible throughout the year.
If we do entertain public comment, can we implement a 3-minute rule that you only have 3 minutes to speak, just from an expediency standpoint? Would you be agreeable to that, Chairman?
Talking about having public comment now in the middle of the meeting?
No, I'm just saying,
Okay.
You're going to throttle
Public
Andy if
comment.
you do that.
unless,
And Andy takes 3 minutes just to set the stage.
well, have to be gavelled.
I think we need to add it to the agenda and discuss it another time.
All right,
I'd like to make a motion that we table this to the next meeting.
yes. All those in favor? All right. Again, I urge the commission members to please take a read of this, and let's see what we can do. I guess at this point now, we're going to start going through the articles. A lot of this, for those of you who put your eyes on this, the old charter got a lot of it redlined, a lot of it got deleted. I think there's 43 different comments on there on Article 4 that proposes a better way of doing this. And I guess Anthony's at the podium, so you're recognized.
Just a quick question. So Article 4 right now, no changes. It's, as of this moment, good to go. There were no changes proposed at the last meeting. You've got a clean copy in front of you. I just want to make sure that we're not looking at any changes because to someone's point here earlier, we got a lot of business to attend to, not only tonight, but as a, as a group together. And so as many of these articles as we can put behind us, the better off we're going to be moving forward.
There was a section that was inserted in on October 6th that I'm not sure if it ever got voted on or ever got brought up. And that's the regarding the school budget, section 404.1 has been left blank. The town attorney has suggested referencing state law that governs school budgets, and then his wording that we should include, or that we could possibly include at section 404.1 is the school budget shall conform to the cost center summary format outlined in 20-A MRS 1485 and applied to municipal department school budgets through 20 AMRS 2307. Did we vote on that last time around? And this is from a memo, Anthony, that you sent out October 6th.
Yeah, so again, the clean copy that you have in front of you, I think incorporates what was discussed at that time. And so again, I'm just wanting to make sure that if we're done with Article 4, the staff here is not going to be spending any additional time on it. And there was a question as to whether or not the town can exercise some greater oversight over the budgeting and the spending of the schools. And you saw the memo quoting the town attorney, and those processes are dictated by state statute. So, and when I did my review of other towns' charters, what I found was that their charters only really addressed the delivery of the budget, the timing and the delivery of the budget to the town's officers, that being either their select board or their town council, which this does, that's in front of you right now.
All right, thank you. And may I make a suggestion to the clerk, please? I think it would be, as you can see by the shuffling of papers for 8 of us here, is it possible to put like a revision date at the bottom of the page on any of these things? Because again, I'm looking at an Article 4, Winthrop Public School, looks pretty clean, but apparently I don't have the right version. Same with the agenda tonight, didn't have the right version. Is it possible, or does that go against any type of state law that says you can't have a date on a? I think it just would help.
I think that's a fine suggestion, and we certainly can add that on
I
there.
think it would just help us
Yeah.
sort out.
Keep it a little cleaner. Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, didn't mean to call out
No
anybody.
worries.
All right. So, Aaron?
Just for clarification purposes, is this, Anthony might be able to answer this, where we would be considering recalling, or is that are we going to be doing that under a separate
That's Article 2.
2? Okay, so this is going to be, is it standalone? This is literally just about the school board and
Article 4.
superintending qualifications. So it's 401, 402, 403, and 404.
Yeah, it really just speaks to the governance of our schools.
Which is outlined by state statute. And just reiterated in this essentially.
And did we vote on this last time? We did?
I believe this is what we voted on last time, correct, Anthony? Yeah.
All right. So we're good to go. Article 4. Boom. Where's my gavel? I need to hit myself on the head.
Make a motion to adopt changes. I think we have to.
Were there any changes
Well, I guess do we need,
from the last meeting? There were no changes to this from the last meeting, was there?
well, I don't think we adopted it though, right?
Are we talking about Article 4?
Article 4.
There's been no changes since the last meeting. The only reason this was part of your packet is simply because there was a question as to whether or not the town could exercise more oversight in the budgeting and spending of the school system. And Dr. Foley and I spoke with the town attorney about this, and he made clear that those are processes governed by state statute.
And so if we wanted, if there's, say, we wanted to insert a, something requiring a budget be available for inspection or whatever, would that have to go into this article?
I would really like to speak with the town attorney about that, just
Okay.
to judge the appropriateness of this, because charters are a very specific tool. And to me, that sounds more like a policy than it does something that needs to be codified.
What are you looking for this? Any action? Sorry.
I'm looking for you guys to move to Article 2 now.
This is also.
Andy, you had a comment?
I again would suggest that we speak to the town attorney. Okay, we need to have the attorney here at these meetings. Okay, we can't, perfectly unintentionally, by the time we ask the question gets asked to the attorney responds, the response is delivered to us. We need direct.
I'm not sure having him here is not going to follow the same pattern, right? And I'll get back to you with an answer on that, right? So, I mean, you're,
To have the answers for it, so find a new town attorney if you can't come up with answers.
Richard?
I agree with
Anthony?
Andy.
Don't say
I've
Anthony,
asked
we'll
for-
be all confused.
I've asked several times why that town attorney isn't sitting right there in that front seat. The town of Winthrop, as I understand it, I've been told, you're paying him so much a flat fee for the year. You get in his car and drive up here, so we can ask him questions one-on-one. And I think that would be very helpful.
All right.
Two things. The reason the town attorney's not here, that was a decision of the former chair. Because even though the attorney does charge us a flat fee, he does charge us for his travel time. That's not included in the contract. And then additionally, all of the responses that the town attorney gave me, I have forwarded directly to you. You have his words in his own voice from the town attorney.
Any other comments on that issue?
I certainly am not suggesting,
Andy?
yeah, I certainly am not suggesting that Anthony is misrepresenting the town attorney. I just think we need that direct path. And when it comes to travel time, then the town attorney can get right on the screen and we can avoid the travel time. Do that right from your house. Okay.
So I'm hearing two different things now, right? Zoom,
Well, I mean,
Zoom presence or face to face?
if we have to have a middle road, then I'm willing to look at it. I mean, if the middle road is to save the travel fees, but it means getting him here to look at us, listen to us and respond to the questions, I'm willing to do it on Zoom.
Where's he live? Point of order. The attorney.
He lives down in Cumberland County. So
An hour.
it's an hour drive. And that was the former chair's thought exactly, is that for all intents and purposes, there's no difference between appearing on Zoom versus sitting in a chair. So when the time was appropriate, we wanted to have this discussion to see if you had any more questions about this school administration issue. And that if there was, the plan was to have the town attorney appear via Zoom.
Yeah, I would have a couple of questions if the town attorney was sitting there tonight about the school, the legal part about the school budget and the council getting involved in the school budget. And it'd be very helpful to me to have the guy sitting there because questions are going to come up. If he was sitting there, he could answer some questions tonight, then it's resolved. We don't have to wait for a next meeting and then keep going on and on and on and on.
It's wishful thinking, I think.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Again, you folks, you have emails directly from the town attorney stating what Mr. Garrett was just asking about. It's all in your inboxes.
Yep.
I don't see the problem.
We'll take this under advisement and we'll review it. I'll review it with Anthony and
Well, you need to
Back to-
review it with us, with a committee. You need to review that with us, not with the town manager, but with us. We're the ones voting. He's not voting on it. We're voting on it.
do I hear a motion to have the town attorney here on the next Zoom meeting?
I'll make a motion to have the town attorney present at our next meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Physically present?
Physically or on Zoom?
It doesn't matter.
I think the preference would be physically appear here. Pay him the travel time.
Okay.
Second,
All right. All those in favor?
discussion.
Discussion?
I would like to see that motion amended to all of our meetings.
Okay, so what's the motion again? Have the town
Motion
attorney
would be to
present?
have our attorney present at all of the Charter Commission meetings
All right.
moving forward in January.
Do I hear a second?
Second. Discuss.
Any discussion?
Gil.
All right.
I was just going to say, unless we allowed for the flexibility of them being present, I've never had an issue with them being on Zoom, being responsive. If that would be a cost savings, and I would be totally with that. I'm not comfortable with saying come here physically for every meeting.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just say, come on Zoom and be done with this, guys. And let's actually, it's 7:00.
So the motion, you want to,
I'll append it to either in person or via Zoom. I think that's the best way.
Agree.
right?
I'm sure he'll choose the Zoom option.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? I think 7. Abstain. Sir?
I'm ready to speak to Article 2. I don't see,
We're on Article 2 now.
okay.
Back to 2.
I read all the notes, and everything, and what I've come to my conclusion is I don't think we need to make it. I don't see nepotism or term limits. I think if we add in the recall provision, that would satisfy any of those issues, in my opinion. And so I would, my recommendation would be to adopt adding the recall provision in lieu of the term limits and nepotism. That's my opinion.
I would like to make comments on what Deb has entered in, or the town manager. From the town manager, the town can decide to impose term limits through the charter, which is us. You should be clear whether to limit the applies only to consecutive terms or in general, and whether the new language will apply to current terms. Language might look like this: after serving 3 full consecutive terms as a counselor, an individual must wait a year before serving on council again. As far as the nepotism, at no time shall 2 or more counselors have a relationship by consensuality? I don't know.
Consanguinity.
Consanguinity.
Consanguinity. Okay. All right. Very good. Blood or / ancestors or affinity marriage within 6th degree, second cousins or closer. I think those should be inserted in, and I think we should vote on Article 2 with those provisions.
Anthony, you were at the podium. Did you want to, and then Andy, you can.
No, I just appreciate Mr. Burns pointing those out because, yeah, those are in the notes, the comments along with what's been provided to you. And we did that just so that if you wanted to add those in, those are the sections where that's going to occur.
Andy? Say, Andy, you want a microphone, please?
I agree with Bruce. The only suggestion is that we're clear that it's on the same committee. Okay, I mean,
What do you mean?
well,
Same
but right now, I have a niece on the planning board and my son is on the school board. So we need to be clear.
I think this addresses the town council,
It's
right?
town council,
Only.
not planning boards or.
Okay, good. I agree with Bruce.
Okay,
Steve?
I want to just say I agree with him in regards to the recall. I think again, I've said this before, if we are going to do nepotism and we are going to vote that should be for every board. If you start singling out and deciding who is allowed to run, you are then telling the taxpayers who they can and can't vote for. And I do believe that is walking a very fine line by taking the rights away from the citizens by dictating who has the right to run. If the citizens don't want them in, the citizens will not vote them in. As was shown this last one, the citizens voted for that person to be in, knowing full well that their son was on the council. So it is something to think about because it bothers me as a citizen to think that what was just said here, as long as it's not the school board and affects Andy and his family, it's okay, but it can affect everyone else.
Let's not make it personal, please. Let's keep it.
That's just what was set up here. He was talking about his son and his daughter-in-law or whoever. And if it's okay that we don't include that, then I'm all for it. Well, I'm saying as a citizen, if you go ahead with the nepotism, I take that as you're taking away my right and the rights of citizens to vote in this town for whoever they want to. And that legally is a problem. And I think that only would be addressed with our town attorney, but my attorney. So taking away the rights of the citizens because 3 people on this board have an issue with what is going on is a problem for me. And I think that it should be looked on very carefully about taking the rights away from the citizens to vote for who they want to in this community. And if you choose to do that, it better be across the board for everyone to be affected by that, not just the town council.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Sorry, Shay.
Hi, Bruce, just watch your foot. You're pulling on the cord. I did a little research on this when it comes to,
Thought it was a snake.
it's a snake, yeah. I did a little research when it comes to term limits. There's only 4 other towns in the state of Maine that have term limits. It's Bangor, Holton, Standish, and Augusta. Augusta has 12,917 voters and a population of around 20,000. Bangor, 20,514 voters, population around 32,000. Holton is the only one that's almost equivalent to us. They have about 3,531 registered voters with a population of about 5,000. Standish has 7,710 voters with a population of 10,400, 500. Winthrop has 409,27 voters with around 6,153 population. In regards to nepotism, that would be disenfranchising that very small amount of people by saying you can only vote for XYZ. Our voters are smart enough to realize if an entire family unit in a shape or form is going to run the entire council. I would hope our voters, our town citizens are smart enough to recognize that. Secondly, with our small population, if we have a bunch of vacancies, doing term limits and the nepotism would reduce the availability of who could come in a vacancy situation where we could, especially with the term limits, if you were running and you had your term limits, but then something happened, you're like, oh, I can come back in. The term limits would prevent you from doing that. So it's just something to think about.
That would be 9 years as a counselor.
Right, but
Okay,
but,
3 terms, correct?
but if there's like an emergency where you left and then something happened where like 4 members of the town council decide to up and leave, we need to fill those spots. And as a previous member, you might be like, oh, I can come, I'll step in until XYZ time. So it might hinder that availability.
No, wouldn't that require a referendum and a vote?
What was that, Bruce?
I mean, if 4 counselors quit, wouldn't that require, and they needed to be replaced, we'd have a special election to elect new counselors to take their place if anybody decided to run.
Correct, but the term limits would still apply to anyone who had previously been on the council and met that threshold for the term limits.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So even if you were to vote for people, that term limit policy, unless there's something in there that says in case of an emergency like that, the term limit was null and void, it would still be applicable.
I think it's already addressed in the charter, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Let me see.
I didn't see anything that address in case of emergency term limits would be null and void.
With regards to emergencies and
For
stuff.
example, if you had your 9 years and then 6 months later, obviously you were done. And then 6 months later, there was a whole new vote. Somebody else took your position because you did your 9 years, but then 4 council members decided to quit for whatever reason. it would disenfranchise you from saying, oh, you know what, I can step in for the remainder of this year. I will fill out the paperwork and then people can vote for me. So that would disenfranchise the people.
Right.
Zach Steele, citizen of Winthrop. I guess I just share my thoughts here on kind of in line with what Aaron's saying. So when you typically, from my understanding of law, when you're going to write a rule or a law or whatever it may be, you want it to be least restrictive to the community or whoever it's going to impact, right? And so having a recall in place solves a lot of the problems that might ever come about if you didn't. So rather than setting the rules in advance to reduce or actually add qualifications that you need, right, which this would be one, you basically are disenfranchising voters for one, but moreover, you're kind of making a rule about a problem that maybe isn't there with a much simpler solution. So I agree with what Aaron's saying. I support what Aaron's saying. And I think that if we are going to have some sort of a qualification here, we should really provide, and the citizens, and I would really encourage all of you who are motioning that, foundation for why it's needed, because I haven't heard anything that really speaks volumes that is not solved with a recall. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Couple things. One thing is, I'm not interested in what another town does. Look at California, what they do. Okay, when you had said there's so many towns 4 towns or 3 towns that only has it. I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in the town of Winthrop. And I think there's good reasons. Now, I can understand Sandy, it's her husband and it's her son, and she takes it to heart, and anybody should. And I understand that. But down the road, when they're my age and they're not, running for office or something, and somebody else is that, and the nepotism and the term limits, it's the same old ideas. We'd like to have fresh ideas, fresh people like you coming on, fresh ideas and fresh people. That's what this is about. It's not being mean to them or mean to anybody else. It's just being fair, so it doesn't, there's no chance of weighing down the council to go one way or another. They've been very good. The young fella's voted against his father several times, and that's great. But that's may not always be the case. And you got to think about, we're taking care of the taxpayers of the town of Winthrop, how they feel.
Sandy?
First of all, it is not personal. It is for every person that has a family member up here.
Not
You do as
personal,
you
why'd you
wish.
have to mention my
Andy,
Excuse me?
please.
I'm real
I'm
close to
speaking.
like,
Andy?
It is not personal. It is for anybody that's in that situation. My biggest issue is that you folks are trying to take the rights away of us citizens to vote for who we want to. If the town citizens do not want someone in, they will not vote them in. And if there is a recall, they have every right to vote them out. So again, no one is saying why the nepotism is an issue. No one is giving a reason for it.
Just did.
What was your reason?
Yeah.
Dickie, if the town is voting, clearly the town just voted, knowing full well that there were family members on the council. So who are you speaking for? Are you speaking for the town
Yes.
or are you speaking for yourself?
No, I'm speaking for the town.
So
What I'm saying is, Sandy, is it could go the other way.
well, anything
It
can
could
go the
be.
other way, but you
could
have a
be senior
recall.
Council with too many,
You have a
Thank you.
recall in place.
I don't know. I've talked
So
to.
do you feel that strongly about it being, because we sat right here and talked about pay increases for the school board and Andy was involved at a town council meeting. So that too needs to be addressed. So I'm sitting here and listening and I'm hearing that we only want nepotism in certain areas, but not in other areas. And I'm saying that the recall vote solves that. So whatever underlying thing that nobody wants to discuss on why we are talking about this, seems irrelevant to me if it's answered with a recall vote.
Well, if you're so worried
Point of
about
order.
it, then.
I'm not
Members
worried about
gotta
it.
go
I'm
through.
telling you,
All comments have to go to the chair.
Please.
I think that we need to look at that. These are my concerns. You folks are sitting here saying that you want to add something into a charter that is going to take the rights away from citizens in this community to run for a position. One, I don't believe that that is legal. Two, you are now cutting in half in a small community the right for folks to even want to run. They can't. If there's a family member or a cousin or whoever, you're eliminating that pool of people. If somebody up here could answer to me why it is important to eliminate and try to infringe on the rights of voters, what is the leading feeling for that? What is the motion moving forward? Because the town spoke when they reelected my husband very clearly that they were okay with it. So what is driving this issue if we have a recall in there? Can someone give me an answer?
I just want to say that when you say you people, we don't all.
We don't all see,
No, but you're a
we don't all see the issue the same way.
Right, but you're a group, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it goes as a group. And I'm not saying you do, but from someone at this table, could they explain to me what the driving force is for the nepotism when we have the,
It has been explained.
it really hasn't. Because we
Sure.
have recall vote.
I'll say it again.
Hold on. Speak into the microphone, Richard, please. So,
I'll say it again, Sandy. It's to protect the taxpayers. You keep saying that we're taking their votes away or their chances to elect somebody. It's not that. We're also protecting on the other side if you had a bad situation. We have a great situation now, but what if we had a bad
Andy,
situation?
please let him explain his point.
Oh, that's the thing is, what if we had a bad situation? We have a great situation right now. They're great guys, they're smart guys. They've worked their tails off. But what if we had a bad situation moving down the road in 10 or 20 years down the road?
Which is why there's a
Protects-
recall.
it
I think
protects
which is
the
why there's a
taxpayers.
recall issue.
That's what I was going to say. That's why are you not for the recall? Why are you for pushing specifically just the council for the nepotism when you have a recall vote? Very clearly, they are stating that.
So Sandy, thank you if you're okay. There's a couple other folks waiting to speak. Ma'am, please.
Bill,
Are these,
With here before you.
yeah,
these
I'm
gonna
going to
interfere
interrupt this whole
with
thing,
the-
okay? This is why I said we cannot call this a joint meeting. The public, which includes counselors in attendance in the audience, comments before and after. We will never get anything done, okay? If we spend the night listening to comments, coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. We won't. We'll be here forever.
Thank you. Next. Yes, please.
my question is that are both of these separate things that you got, separate going into the charter that we get to vote on? Like, do we get to vote whether or not you can have term limits and we can vote whether or not you want to do it?
Absolutely.
Yes, there'll be separate questions.
There'll be separate questions.
Well, it can be separate questions. We haven't made the decision yet whether
So
the
the-
charter is going to be
So if
voted
they're
on.
separate, then,
It would be an all or nothing.
yeah.
So if you're against nepotism and you vote no, then the charter on your vote gets voted down.
So, but the thing is, though, you could save the whole thing if you just go with being able to recall somebody. And then if there's a problem, and then you bring it up to the vote at that time and address that issue at that time. So it makes no sense to me
Yeah, that
to
would be good.
put in the separate stuff, because if you really want to pass something into the charter, you're going to end up losing what you wanted. If you wanted to be able to have term limits, you'll lose it if the other thing doesn't pass. So I don't understand why you just don't do the one thing, the recall, and then you bring that issue up to the voters at the time if there's a problem. I mean, I don't know if you have to get petitions. Do you have to have petitions to bring it up to the voters to change something or no?
We need 400 signatures.
Yeah, so then if there's that many concerns with people that aren't here right now saying what their concerns are and stuff, if they're so concerned about it, then where's the petition? I mean, they'll get themselves a petition and go that way.
All right.
Is it okay if I ask your name?
Oh, Lynn Costa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Hang on, Roy. We gotta.
Yeah,
Sir?
First, I do admit I opened the door to this one. Okay, my point was, just as an earlier point I made about forming yet another committee from the school board and the town council, volunteers are almost impossible to find. We have lots of committees that aren't full, okay? And I will point out that my son and my niece both walked into those positions. We were going to an election where no one was running for that school board position, and no one was volunteering to come forward for that planning board. Okay, so, I mean, and the other thing is I'm going to ask the chair courteously this time to shut down personal comments immediately. I have no tolerance for it, none. And this has become a habit.
And it goes both ways, right? Let's keep this civil here for everybody, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Roy?
Roy Weymouth. So a couple things. I'm just going to keep it real short and sweet. First of all, we're trying to shut down comments of people in the audience. We're asking everybody to come here. We're asking everybody to be a part of it. And then you're telling them that we don't want you to get up and speak or to limit the amount of speaking because we're going to be here all night.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm not talking to you, Gil.
All right, thank you.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword. If you want somebody to be here and have some input, they deserve a right to speak. A couple things, this whole thing, there's one important factor here is, as I see it, is the community, the voters have made the decision, to elect people. And if the voters are making the decision to elect people, that's their voice. And if they decide that somebody that's been there a while is doing a poor job, they'll elect somebody differently. If they decide that they're doing, somebody's doing a good job, a fair job, a job that they're comfortable with, then that's who they're going to cast their vote for. These people are speaking, they're using their vote as a voice to, this person is representing what I want to see done. Whether it's the nepotism, trying to shut down the nepotism, trying to shut down the term limits, it's still, you're taking away the voice of the people of the town. You've created a solution for a problem that's not there, first of all. If you vote this in, you're creating a solution for a problem that's not there. And it's a situation where I've lost my train of thought from what, but it's not good. I mean, the people need to have their voice, and it shouldn't be taken away, is what it boils down to.
All right. Thank you, Roy. Aaron, you've been patient.
Thanks. So, I'm listening and I'm gonna kind of echo again what I've said. I think I don't want to put anything in here that would restrict voter ability to voice what they want to do. I mean, I don't think that's the role of the charter. I don't think it should ever restrict the will of the voters. So I am ready to make a motion. I'm going to make a motion at the moment to go ahead and add in a recall provision in Article 2. The only change to the petition procedure is, I would say, any 10 qualified voters may begin proceedings to recall an elected municipal or school board member by request in writing to the town clerk. And otherwise, I would leave it as is without any other changes.
Second.
That's your motion. We have a second? All right. Discussion?
All right, thank you. The more I read this and the more I consider this, nepotism, I don't even think nepotism is honestly what we're talking about here. It's a completely different thing, which is not legal to begin with. So nepotism is not legal. I mean, if you hired somebody here at the town office that was your cousin and they only got hired because your cousin, that's nepotism. They're not qualified for it. You're probably not going to stay in that job very long. I think the town council would address that pretty quickly. What I see as a problem there is that, like everybody has talked about so far, as common essentially, is that it does limit the folks who are going to come and be able to get elected to this. I have not seen an issue anywhere where there have been members of the public who have been family members on a council or a select board. And some, many know I work in the government world on the private sector side, and I see a lot of select boards. I see a lot of town councils where there's multiple family members on this. Is there dysfunction? Yes. But we're also talking about small main towns where it works good for the community. As you talked about, what works well for the community. And I think in the town of Winthrop, it works well to have the community be a part of this. So with that said, I'm very, very against the nepotism clause here we have. As far as the term limits, I've gone back and forth on that. However, Andy, you talking about how there's so few folks willing to serve on boards and those type of things has actually made me consider that and sort of come into the recall position as well. The more the merrier who can get on the ballot is the way is from what I'm concerned. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it.
Richard?
Number one, are you an attorney?
I am not an attorney. Yeah.
So, but you feel sure that nepotism is illegal?
I am fairly certain, without being an attorney, but I'm fairly certain that true nepotism would look very poorly upon everybody in the council, everybody in this room. I don't think there's anybody who would raise their hand and say nepotism is a good thing and is allowed. That is my opinion on that. Yeah.
Number one, it isn't illegal, and you can have a policy for nepotism. A lot of businesses and nonprofits do have a nepotism clause, and it's great that we've had folks come out tonight to speak against it. But you haven't heard from any taxpayers in this meeting. Nobody that's come. You haven't put anything out to the general public, to the rest of the public, and see how they feel about it. All we've heard is against. We haven't seen anybody against. We got the council here that's against it. We haven't had anybody come in. Nobody's come into the meeting. We haven't polled people. I mean, the reason why I'm strong on this, I've talked to a lot of people, and this is what the two biggest things they have is exactly what Anthony put down here. Go to Hannaford and talk to the people. Go to Odessa and talk to the people. And I've invited them. I've invited them to come. Of course, they won't come, but.
All said, Dick. Thank you, sir. What's that? Or any more public comments?
I'm reading the comments from our town attorney, from our town manager. And the attorney clearly stated, who's I'm sure aware of nepotism. His comment, a nepotism clause might read like this. Did you read that portion?
I have it right here. Yeah.
Why don't you read it?
I don't have a need to read it. Look.
What, do you need glasses?
Direct the comments.
I got it right here. Yeah, it's right here. Look, here's the thing about nepotism.
Time shall two or more counselors have a relationship by consanguinity, blood or ancestor, or affinity, marriage within 6 degrees. Second cousins or clauses. So the nepotism being illegal is.
But Bruce, the act of nepotism isn't being elected to a council. The act of nepotism is doing something specifically because they're a family member.
This is a charter change.
Point.
Okay. I think we're just going to agree to disagree on this, Bruce, and I think there's a motion.
I've got just a couple of comments to make. Again, I've been quiet on this. I did a little back of the napkin calculation today of what it would look like. I didn't even go to the 6th degree, but we're basically taking 186 people out of possibly serving on the town council. So again, and this is using average birth rates of 2.1, and I rounded it down to 2. So, and then basically make it so that, 45% of the town councilors would have kids. So you're basically eliminating 186 people from serving on the town council by doing this. So again, it's a very concerning number, especially in the day where, to me, this, and I think Roy, somebody said it out there, it's a solution looking for a problem. I think the recall petition, I think is valid. I think maybe 10 is a little bit low. I would like to see it higher than that, but, and simply because, to your point, Dick, if there's a lot of people talking about this, it wouldn't be very difficult to get petitions signed. And we're not looking at 25% of the voters here. We're looking at, 15, 20 voters to sign the petition. What I don't want this to turn out on the recall portion, Aaron, is a witch hunt. Again, it's very easy to get 5 people to disagree with, the majority in town. So we do have a motion. Oh, okay.
I'd also like to make a motion that we table Article 2 until we have a full.
On this one.
No, yeah, there's a motion,
Vote on this
but I
one.
will amend my motion to 20 individuals that would have to.
All right. So could you repeat the motion, please?
So my motion is to adopt Article 2 with the addition of a recall process that has any 20 qualified voters may begin the proceedings to recall, and then everything as it is outlined in red added as well.
And we had a second?
Just a point of clarification, there wouldn't be 20 people who'd be calling a recall petition. They could actually, 20 people would have to band together to get the petitions, and then you'd have to gather signatures equal to 10% of the turnout of the last gubernatorial election, which is going to be hundreds of people.
To go to the town clerk, petition to become a.
With 10 signatures or 20 signatures, and then.
Qualified voters have to form a committee, or in this case, if we did 20, it would be 20. And then that committee then has to go out and get the signatures for a recall referendum.
Which would be from the last gubernatorial election, 338 people.
Would have to sign it in order to put it on the ballot.
Would have to sign that they would like to have a recall.
Yeah. And that doesn't recall the councilor, it just puts it on the ballot for election purposes. Is that correct?
It's the recall
Referendum.
voters to make the decision whether to recall.
Correct. It would, if they did sign that and they were all verified, then it would be put out for vote.
All right, so the motion, we have a second. All those in favor of putting a recall item in the charter? All those against? Does that put Article 2 to bed? And so now we're on to Article 5. Which,
Item 24, Mr. Chair.
excuse me, Bruce?
Item 24.
Item 24. We've got some different agendas here. I get three agenda. All right. So Article 5 deals with the budget. There are 46 marked up comments. I don't know how we want to take this. Or we want to take this one section at a time and discuss it like Jim was doing. I'll read the section and then we go forward. Yeah. So section 501 of Article 5 dealing with the budget, the fiscal year. Again, there's a bunch of marked up comments if you want to see where this cleaned up version comes from, but the fiscal year of the town government shall begin with the first day of July and shall end on the last day of June each year. Such fiscal year shall constitute the budget and accounting year as used in this charter. The school department's fiscal year shall be as fixed by state law. School department shall, however, coordinate its fiscal management with the town to satisfy accounting practices. That's section 501. Any discussion on that one? Aaron?
I don't have any discussion. I think it is fine with the corrections there, and I would make a motion to, or I guess, let's continue. I guess we don't have to do a whole motion on every section, but I would say I'm fine with that.
I second that.
And any discussion on that? Again, it was, Anthony, did you?
I'm just here at the ready.
All right. All right, section 502. Unless there's further discussion, I don't see any, but preparation and submission of the budget. The town manager shall submit to the council the budget message on the first Monday in March of each year, which shall be a budget summary, the budget detail and capital program. Budget authority of the council shall be limited to the final determination of the total appropriation to be made to each of the several officers, departments, and agencies of the town, excepting the Department of Education. This budget shall be compiled from detailed information furnished by the department directors and boards and shall contain. Before we get on to 5021, do we all agree on the language of that section?
Fine with it.
Good.
Good.
Okay, so section 502.1, exact statement of the financial condition of the town. And I take it that's produced by the finance director that would submit that?
No, actually, that is the audit.
Ah.
And so, in my notes, I said there are two ways to address this. I think it needs some clarity. We could include the audit from the prior fiscal year, or we could have a separate provision noting that the audit must be presented to the council upon its completion, which we already do, and posted on the website for transparency, which we already do. I think the second of those is the better way to move forward.
So you're just recommending codifying it in language here to section
yes.
502.1.
Correct.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
I'm good with it too.
Jay, did you have a, oh, I'm sorry. Carrie?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Bruce?
I'm good.
All right. Okay, we'll make sure that gets added. Section 502-2, we don't need to vote on that, do we? Okay. An itemized statement of appropriations recommended for current expenses and for permanent improvement with the comparative statements in parallel columns of estimated expenditures for the current year. An increase or decrease of any item shall be indicated. Again, I think that's fairly common language. Section 502-.3, an itemized statement of estimated revenue from all sources other than taxation and a statement of taxes required along with comparative figures from current and the next preceding year. Looking good. Section 502-4, such other information as may be required by the town council. That's the, and other duties as assigned, I guess, right? Section 502.5, budget approval timeline. The proposed budget prepared by the town manager shall be reviewed by the town council, which shall approve the budget with or without amendments and shall fix the time and place for holding public hearings on such budget. The council shall provide public notice of such hearings and act within the following timeline. Number one, school budget timeline. To ensure that the town of Winthrop's annual school budget adoption and validation process occurs in accordance with state law and in sufficient time for the town clerk to prepare and issue absentee ballots for the municipal validation referendum to coincide with the state June primary election, the school board shall adopt and submit its proposed school budget to the town council no later than March 31st of each fiscal year. The town council shall review, hold any necessary public hearings, and adopt a school budget resolution for validation vote no later than 45 days prior to the date of the state June primary election. and the school budget validation referendum shall be held in conjunction with the state June primary election in accordance with 20 AMRMS subsection 1486 and 2307 as amended. Council non-approval or failure to meet school budget timelines. If the town council votes not to approve the proposed school budget, the budget shall be returned to the school board for reconsideration and revision. The school board shall adopt and resubmit a revised proposed budget to the town council as soon as practicable. The town council shall then act upon the revised budget in accordance with the procedures set forth in this section. If circumstances prevents adherence to the deadlines established herein, the town council shall set the earliest possible alternate date for the validation referendum consistent with state law. And then number 2, town budget timeline. The town council shall review and adopt the municipal budget with or without amendment no later than June 30th of each fiscal year, after all final budget estimates have been filed. The council shall then pass an appropriation resolve with the total amount appropriated not to exceed the estimated revenues of the town. If the council fails to adopt the budget before July 1st, the budget as presented by the budget officer shall automatically become the budget for the ensuing fiscal year. That's a lot.
And then all of that that's struck out below that, all the verbiage above that is replaces that that deleted paragraph.
Clarification. I just can't remember where I find it here. It said if the town council should act on the school board adopt, but it said you can do as amended. Does that mean that the council is amending, or does that mean you can consider the original budget or the amended budget if it's brought back and the council has the ability to decide which one goes out to referendum?
I suppose the council could do that. I would think that if the council wants the budget amended,
right, you would
they wouldn't
think.
consider what the
Weird
prior
things have happened.
iteration-
No, I just wanted to be,
But-
okay.
But you're right. So,
Okay.
so the council does not.
Have to take the amended one. It
No,
can-
but the point I was going to make was it does not determine any, the only thing the council considers is what's the bottom line figure of the
Right.
school budget.
Okay, and the way it's worded, it kind of makes it sound like the council then would have the ability to say, oh, maybe we did like the original and go with that.
But they could do that. It'd be an odd situation.
Okay, just want to make sure. I'm fine.
Nick, this timeline works for you? This functionally works, okay.
I don't think we need to vote on that. We just move on unless there's further discussion from this side here. All right. Section 505, I believe is what we're on.
503. And before you start reading that, Gil, both the finance director and I agree that this section, in our opinion, is not needed. It would seem to indicate that each department operates out of independently with its own pot of money. That's not how governmental accounting works. Most operational expenses come from the general fund in which all the revenues are deposited. So if you take the advice of myself and the finance director, we would just strike 503 altogether.
Need discussion on mission on that? All set with that? All right, we'll strike that from the record. Yeah. 504, I take it has been also?
Correct.
Just have to renumber that.
Renumber them.
Correct.
So section 505, budget summary. At the head of the budget, there shall appear a summary of the budget, which need not be itemized further than by principal sources of anticipated revenue, stating repeatedly the amount to be raised by property tax and shall be itemized also by departments and expenditures in such a manner as to present the taxpayers a simple and clear summary of the detailed estimates of the budget. Did I capture that correctly?
Yes. So if you folks have seen what we post when we get the budget sort of finally approved, goes into the newspaper, gets posted on our website, that's the budget summary that tells you exactly what the municipal expenses are, the school expenses, and what the tax implications of that are.
Should it,
Richard?
should it specifically say, I mean, I know we're already posting it, but should it say that it would always be posted? Just curious.
Deb, do you know, is that required by law? It's not, because we've talked about this. Haven't. Yeah, I mean, you could, I mean, we're going to do it. It's always going to be done because
I think it would be good just to specifically say will always be posted. Shall always be posted.
It's enough, yeah.
We have to vote on that or?
no.
It does say shall, so I would assume, I would take that as language saying it must. Yeah.
All right. Oh, Richard, sorry.
I don't know if I'm a little premature, but I'd like to add in this town municipal budget that the taxpayers will vote on the town budget at the same time as they vote on the school budget.
That would require a complete change of the form of government that we have here in the town of Winthrop.
Why?
Because we operate under a council form of government with a charter. You're talking about a select board form of government with a town meeting. And so I assume that back in 1972, when we adopted a council form of government, there was a reason for that. Apparently at that time, that form of government was not working well for the town of Winthrop, and so they went to this. So that would be an extraordinary move for the town to change its form of government.
Did there used to be selectmen?
Good, okay, Alan, okay.
Any further discussion on that item? All right.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry,
Chair,
Bruce,
is
go ahead.
everybody in agreement that we don't need to change the council form of government to a selectman form of government?
I don't think that was on
I
the
just-
table.
I'm a little bit perplexed on two fronts here. One is if you have gone to the council meetings and you were a counselor, so you know the process very well. If we took the process from being at a council style meeting with the budget, where we're having budget meetings, which taxpayers can come and give input and do. If we took that out and separated it, so it's like, we're doing as like a select board where they do different,
Well,
they vote on
if you were to,
warrants. If we did it warrants, could you imagine how long that process would take? And B,
I merely asked a question, Aaron.
I'm asking a question too. And so the amount of time and then the effort people would have to show up. So unless you wanted the same 5 or 10, 20, 30, maybe people making a decision on everything, I assume that's why we have a council government and the elected people to make that decision. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. But
if we were going to have that, a different form of government, we would just ask the voters to repeal this charter.
right.
Richard?
I don't think so, but maybe you know more about it than I do.
And Bruce, did you ask if, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
As Jim said, we talked about this in depth. And not that anyone's doing a bad job. It's just for better input. The townspeople can come up and have more input and more say on things. And we talked about it. I've lived here my whole life and I've seen it both ways, I don't know, maybe I'm just too old fashioned, but I think that's the way that we should go.
And Bruce, you asked if we needed to vote on this? Oh,
an opinion of the rest of the committee members
Gotcha.
looking to change our form of government from a town council to a select board. And we're all in agreement.
Are you, what are you looking for? A poll, a vote?
Just an
Yeah,
opinion.
no, I'm not looking to change it. I'm not looking to change the form of government.
Wes Gardner.
Yeah. You want to go to a good one, go to Mercer. So no, I'm not looking. Ari Shay, go ahead.
I would love for more town members to come to stuff. Unfortunately, with a population of about 6,000, we have about, what, 8 people here? 2 online and 6 in the audience, 6, 7, 8. So it's really up to the townspeople, and if we change it, I don't think we'll get any more people coming through. But I'm with you. I would love more town people to go to stuff.
If you had more important issues like taxes or buying an airplane for the town manager to go to Boston every weekend or whatever, you would have more input, trust me. If we were spending a lot of money on an issue, it's like building a new school or whatever, you would have, those chairs would be full. And that's my reason, you know?
Just I'd like to agree with you, Dick. You know, when I took the chair of the town council, biggest complaint that no one was allowed to comment. Okay, there was no comment. People still, you know, get at me because I say 3 minutes, okay? But the fact is that no one was allowed to talk for 3 minutes under any, the fact is that no one was allowed to talk for 3 minutes under any circumstance, let alone 3 speaking periods during the town council meeting. Okay, we weren't even saying the Pledge of Allegiance, but I instigated those changes, okay? And now, of course, people are complaining they want more time, and that there's only so much we can do. But I just don't think that if we go to a select board, and we have council meetings where Shannon sits here and says, any comment, and there's nobody in the audience except for Anthony and a few other town officials, okay? And, you know, I don't think the select board is going to work in this town, okay? I just don't think we're going to get the involvement that we need.
All right, thank you. Aaron?
So I'll just speak to the point that you're making, Dick, is that, you know, people aren't in the audience or participating as much, I think, actually, as is a statement of their confidence in the council. And I think we have been doing a really good job at monitoring and listening to the taxpayers. I know I go out of my way to talk to people. I make it abundantly clear that I don't represent myself on the council, and I make decisions that I might not even agree with if I've heard a convincing and or a more populist opinion about something. And we have done and this council in particular has gone out of its way to make sure that we are doing everything we can to align the town, especially with the reevaluation coming up, to be in the best position possible, that the taxpayers are getting the most out of their town government and that we are not wasting taxpayer resources. Now, I think, you know, if I could be wrong, but I haven't had anybody in town tell me that they were concerned with the way we were doing things. And again, I think if that were the case, we would see different election results. But
Gary?
I would like to say that we need to move on.
Second.
Almost 8 o'clock.
So
I don't think any of us here want to
satisfied
select board.
the way things.
We're satisfied with the way things are going, okay? Section 506, expenditures and departmental revenue. Budget for all departments, including the school department, shall include all proposed expenditures. The town council shall make a gross appropriation for each department, including the school department, for the ensuing fiscal year. The gross appropriation for each department shall not be exceeded except by the consent of the council, but the school budget shall be expensed under the direction and control of the Board of Education, under the direction and control of the Board of Education.
Fine with that?
so why does it have the, gross appropriation, the town council shall make a gross appropriation for each department, including the school department?
Yes. So that's that bottom line figure that you approve for the school budget.
But we don't. We put it
Yes, you
to the
do.
voters.
Well, you approve it to send it to the voters.
That's
And they
not
validate
but
it.
that's not what it says.
Well, it is state law. And
Why can't we
And
just?
well, now hold on a second. Now I'm questioning, we had the budget timeline up above about how the school budget goes to the voters at the state June primary
Leave that in
election.
there?
Well, it's already in there. It's in section 502.5, number 1, the third bullet.
So do we need it in 506?
I don't think you need it multiple times in the
Take
charter.
that out.
Move on. Section 507, transfer of appropriations. At the request of the town manager, the council may, by resolution, transfer any unencumbered appropriation balance or portion thereof between the general accounts. What's that?
I said, I don't really know what that means.
That means that the council has the authority to move funds from one account to another. So a good example, Aaron, is when we have the unassigned fund balance, and we appropriate funds from that unassigned fund balance to our various capital reserves. This section 507 speaks to that sort of transfer.
Can it only be done at the request of the town manager?
No, it could be done it could be done at the request of the council.
Should that be in there?
Is, I think. The request of town manager, the council may.
Yeah.
Resolution.
It says only at the request of the town manager.
But typically that's how that's going to occur, because a counselor may not be in a position of knowing what the unassigned fund balance is. The town manager would, because he's dealing with it on a regular basis. And so that's how those ideas bubble up to the council, simply because the council's not going to know sort of what the unassigned fund balance is at any given moment.
In other words, that's the town manager's job, right?
Well said.
You agreed on something, Anthony.
Yes, we did. Write that down, Deb.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Any other comments? All right, good to go. The next section on borrowing. Money may be borrowed within the limits fixed by the Constitution and statutes of the state now or hereafter by applying the issue and sale of bonds and notes pledged on the credit of the town. The proceeds are to be used for any purpose for which municipalities are or hereafter may be authorized to borrow money by general law. No order providing for the issue of bonds shall be passed without public notice given by posting notice of the same on the town's website and in the town office. Sorry, I'm reading through the strike-throughs here. Of at least 2 weeks prior to the final action by the council. Bonds and notes shall be issued the same manner and subject to the same provisions as govern the issuance of general obligation securities of municipalities. Every order for the issuance of bonds shall provide for a tax levy for each year of the amount necessary to meet the annual payment of principal and interest, and such amount shall be included in the tax levy for each year until the debt is extinguished. Tax anticipation note shall be issued by order by a majority of the council in the same manner and subject to the same provisions as govern the issuance of such notes by municipalities.
I just have a quick question. Can you just give us an example of this?
So let's say that we're going to buy a $2 million fire truck. We're not going to pay for that in cash. And so we would have to finance that cost. probably be through a general obligation bond from the Maine Municipal Bond Bank. And this would speak to that process. But I do have, as you were reading through this, Gil, something struck me, and I'm going to ask our finance director his opinion on this. That last sentence, tax anticipation notes shall be issued. There should never be a reason at this point that the town of Winthrop would issue a tax anticipation note. Do you agree or disagree?
Even if it was an unexpected process outside.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it would be pretty catastrophic in order for the
Right.
town to require a tax anticipation note. I mean,
That would mean a change that we had to gather further taxes beyond what had been already appropriated or
we would have to borrow money
collected.
to basically get until the next time we collect taxes.
Correct.
And in that regard, Aaron, it's no different than a general obligation bond, because that's how we're going to pay it back at general. And Matt, please weigh in on this because you're more expert at this than I am. But that's how you're going to pay back a general obligation bond is with revenue, with property tax revenue. Matt?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think the tax anticipation note that falls under the everything previous to this. And so if you did need to do that, I would not want to take away the ability for the town to issue a TAN, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would
Okay.
probably-
for unforeseen situations 10 years from now, you never know what's going to happen. But
I agree.
I don't think it hurts to have it in there.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and, I don't know if pass, but Article 5 as presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, thank you. It's past 8 and we have a really short Article 6 to bust through. Do we want to tackle that or do we want to? Let's do it. All right. All right, Article 6, Tax Administration, Section 601, Assessor. There shall be established a division of assessment, the head of which shall be the tax assessor. The assessor appointed as herein the assessor appointed as herein before provided shall exercise the same powers and be subject to the same duties and liabilities that similar officers of the several towns and cities in the state may exercise, and may now or hereafter be subject to under the laws of the state. Sounds pretty legal to me. All set? All right. Section 602, Board of Assessment and Review Appointments, Vacancies. There shall be a Board of Assessment and Review to consist of 3 members other than members of the Town Council, who shall be appointed by the Town Council for a term of 3 years. 2 alternate members shall also be appointed. Compensation, if any, to such members shall be determined by the Town Council. Vacancies in the membership of such board shall be filled by appointment by the council for the unexpired term. Section 603.
Do that, so this is one more occasion where, to the best of my knowledge right now, Aaron, confirm me or not, I don't think we have that board full.
Correct.
Okay? And this is another situation where we need to be careful. I'm asking for more volunteers.
This is required by state law, I think. Yeah.
Struggling with that for quite a
Yep.
while.
Yeah.
This one's
Since-
required under
This is-
certain
We've been struggling with that since I was,
conditions.
which is 4 or 5 years ago.
I
Deb?
would just make a quick point. That Board of Assessment meets very, very rarely. It would only be at a last ditch effort when they challenged the assessor's findings after he had already reviewed it. And it's hard to fill seats when they may meet once every 3-4 years. It's just super, super rare. So there's extenuating circumstances to fill that board.
But to your point, Andy, as well, is that we, obviously before the reevaluation, we'll need to get people in there. And then, I don't know, maybe we do have to compensate. That might be something we look
I
at.
agree with Debbie. We have the same problem with the ZBA. But like you say, the reeval's coming up and we're gonna need that board in place, I suspect.
So yeah, that just gives you the authority to do it.
And the board is appointed?
It is.
Appointed by us.
It's a 3-member board appointed by the council.
I'm good with that.
All right. Everybody good with that section? Section 603, Board of Assessment Review Powers and Duties. The Board of Assessment Review shall have the powers and duties as provided in MRSA Title 30-A and 36.
Motion to pass as listed.
Good.
Second, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. So our next steps, I guess that's the next, item number 27, discussion of next steps, would be, oh, Anthony?
I have a suggestion. So first of all, as another handsome Texan once said, all right, all right, all right. We got through all of those. So now we have 6 articles that are done, which means there are 4 left, and they're real short ones. So we can probably get through those at the very next meeting.
Oh, I have a question.
Andy?
Could we get a clean copy of the 6 articles that we've completed, printed out? And I really hate to whine, but I'm gonna. Can we get them face page up without having to?
We're just trying to save paper.
Yeah,
We're
I
just
know.
trying to save paper. We love trees. So, but here's the thing. And I've done this after each meeting. I send you guys clean copies of the articles that you have approved. And so we will continue to do that. All you have to do is just check your email and they'll be waiting for you in your email.
That they threw that.
Print them on.
Just, you know, 8 or 10 clean copies, one side, or at least when you flip it, the second side is the same side up. So you can ring binder it or something.
Is there a recycle bin?
Please. It's all right, as long as it's not upside down, you can just ring binder, go through it.
So
We're all
other
sitting here.
than the articles that we have left, are there any outstanding issues that need to be discussed that we as a staff need to prepare for?
So I think we call an executive session in the next meeting. We need to.
Okay, now and I'll probably ask your chair to have a conversation with Mr. Garrett and with the attorney, because there are very strict limits on what we can have executive sessions for. And the fact of the matter is you have no personnel.
Right, tentatively scheduled for 5:30 right now until further
just wanna-
discussion.
Can I?
Anthony, could you give me his number? So
No, sir. Because the town attorney under our contract has strict instructions, and Andy can vouch for this, having served as the chair, the town attorney deals with 2 people at the town, the chair and the town manager.
And I just also want to say too, is that, you know, within the Maine state law, there are very strict procedures in place that you can't go in and talk about an individual without their ability to then be present. You have to give them the opportunity to be present.
you sure about that?
Yes, I am. It's the law. So just so you're aware.
So here's our to-do list is we will provide to you clean copies of everything that's been approved to date by the end of this week.
Right up. Please.
I'm going to send them to you. We will provide you marked up copies of the last articles to be addressed. I guess there is one outstanding issue that was sort of on the agenda tonight that we sort of glossed over, and that is the question of whether or not to present this in its final form when it does go to the voters as.
We do that at the end. Like, can we make that decision at the end?
But I think you should start considering this. And so here's the arguments that both the town attorney and the town clerk have made about that possibility is, one, they both recommend do not have articles contingent on one another. And I think we're beyond that right now. But that was a caution that they both, because that tends to confuse voters. The other articles, either, we can do them in separate questions, but I think we're past that right now. I think everyone's comfortable with what has been approved. And so in that instance, you could just put the charter with all the proposed changes as a single question to voters, which is the cleanest way to present it. But those are things you'll want to mull over the next month.
Mm-hmm. All right. And we have a member of the public who would like to speak. If that's allowed.
I just have to the 5 of you who actually gave me an answer and listening to you come to your conclusions, I want to thank you. I appreciate all the work you're doing, and it was refreshing to see some common sense in this room tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I guess our next item is item 28, a consideration of approval of the minutes of October 14, 2025 of the commission meeting. Thank you, Bruce. Second? Second, Andy? All right, all those in favor?
I move to approve the minutes.
All right. Any other public comments before we close out the meeting? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you for helping me through my first meeting. Appreciate it, folks. This is